Hello everyone, I am Muid Ahmed Siddiqui and I hold the ACCA affiliate status, which means that I have passed all the exams of the ACCA qualification, and I am teaching and assisting students of various professional qualifications in 2018 like ACC and SEMA. You can also find useful links in the description of this video, and last but not least, I am available on different social media platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook and LinkedIn. On this slide, my number is mentioned here on the screen. So let's move on to the actual topic of the video, that is forecasting. Now, in forecasting chapter of F2 Management Accounting exam of the ACCA qualification, there is a section called time series analysis. Most of the students I have seen, many students I have seen, they find time series analysis a little bit difficult. Now, there are four components of the time series that we will discuss in this video: trend, seasonal variations, cyclical, and random variations. So let's move on. A time series. First of all, what is a time series? A time series is a series of figures or values recorded over time. For example, here you can see this is a series of values recorded over time over a 7-year period. In year one, the sales were 20,000. In year two, sales were 21,000. In year three, sales were 24,000. And in year four, 23,000. Now, the graph of time series is called histogram. Note the RI in the name, histogram, as opposed to histogram. You should have heard of the term histogram, but the graph of the time series is not histogram, but in fact it is called histogram. You should remember this point for your exams. Now, as you can see, this is a graph of time series. The time period is shown on the x-axis of the graph, while the values recorded over time are given on the y-axis. And this is actually a line graph showing uh, showing how sales has changed over time, the changes in sales over time. This is a line graph, or you can say, as the names as I already told you, the name of the graph is histogram. There are four components of the time series. First is trend, second is seasonal variations, cyclical variations, and then random variations. So first of all, let's look at what are seasonal variations. Seasonal variations are short-term fluctuations in the values recorded over time. For example, in winter season, the demand for certain products and services becomes higher as opposed to other products or services. For example, in winter season, we tend to uh, buy some hot drinks like coffee, and we also like to take more soup in winter season. But in the summer season, we like to eat more ice cream, more cold drinks. So there is a seasonal variation in the demand of such things. Seasonal variations due to changes in the weather conditions. Seasonal variations, as it is mentioned here, are short terms, because as you can understand from this example, that seasonal variations tend to take place for a few months. In a year, we usually have 4 seasons: summer season, winter season, autumn, and uh, one more that I cannot remember right now. So the point here worth noting is that seasonal variations are short-term fluctuations that take place for normally a few months or so. In the same way, another example of seasonal variations could be the hotel businesses. The hotel businesses, uh, the hotels in certain situation, in certain at certain locations, uh, experience more higher occupancy rates due to changes in the weather conditions, as opposed to other months where occupancy rates are not so high. So many businesses experience seasonal variations in demands, normally in demands of products and services. So these are the seasonal variations, short-term fluctuations in the recorded values. Now, cyclical variations, moving on to towards the cyclical variations. What are cyclical variations? Cyclical variations take place over a longer period of time. For example, like 3 or 4 decades back, UK immigration program was considered one of the best in the world. But once the UK economy uh, once the UK economy uh, accommodated a large number of immigrants. Now, UK immigration is not considered as good as the Canadian immigration. Nowadays, we are witnessing that more and more immigrants are destined to Canada, are destined to Toronto and other cities of Canada like Calgary, Alberta, like like Manitoba there, a province in another province in Canada like Saskatchewan. Most of the immigrants, in fact, nowadays are destined towards Canada as opposed to other countries. So there is a huge demand for Canadian immigration as compared to the immigration of other countries. Now, what will happen after 1 or 2 decades when Canada has accommodated enough immigrants? What will happen? The demand for Canadian immigration will not be that much high, and the Canadian immigration program will become less attractive to the immigrants after 20 years, 30 years. So these are cyclical variations. These are the variations that take place over a longer period of time, like 1 decade, like 2 decades, or decades even. So these are cyclical variations. The cyclical variations, you can say, are longer term variations as compared to seasonal variations that are short term. Moving on, we have another component of the time series, another kind of variation, that are random variations. Random variations. Now, random variations are non-recurring. These are the variations that these are the variations, like, for example, in a country there is a war, or there is a collapse of a company. Such things happen once in a lifetime, like a war taking place in a country, like the collapse of a large company, or any technological change. So these variations are random. There is no fixed pattern to such variations. So these are the three components of the time series. And now the trend. What happens? Trend. Now, trend is the underlying long-term movement over time in the values of the data recorded. Uh, Trend is the underlying long-term movement over time. Now, let me explain trend with the help of a graph. Now, this is a graph. This is a graph, and these are the number of customers, and this is the time period. This is the time period for 4 years on the x-axis, and on the y-axis we have the number of customers. There is a seasonal variation, as you can see in quarter one of 2000. The number of customers were like 6,000, but in quarter two the number of customers reduced to less than even less than even like 4,000. And in quarter three again the number of customers increased, but in quarter four the number of customers again decreased. So this is a seasonal variation. But the trend is upward moving. In this example, in this graph, the graph is showing that the trend is an upward moving. The trend is going upward. So trend is what? Trend is the underlying movement over time. Trend is what? Trend is the underlying movement over time, over a long term of over is the underlying long term movement over time. Is what is the long term movement over time, underlying pattern. Trend is the actual long term pattern over time in the values of the data recorded. So trend, as you can see, trend is something that you can say that trend is the actual pattern, how something is changing. Here the trend is upward moving, the trend is going upwards. So these are the four components of the time series. Now, what happens uh, in the F2 exam? You will be given a time series. And uh, you will be required to find out the trend. In that, actually, in this video, I will be explaining how we determine a trend in a time series using the moving averages method. So let's move on. These are the four quarters. No, yes. Now, this is a time series. Let me explain how trend is determined using the moving averages method. In year 2000, sales were 390. 2001 sales were 380 and 2002 sales were 460. Moving total of 3 years sales. This means that what the moving total of 3 years sales. What we did that in this example, what has been done, that a total of 3 years is calculated, and the total relates to the mid the relates to the middle year. 390, how this 1230 is calculated? For this 1230, they just summed up 390, 380 and 460. Let me show you. Take total of 390, 380 and then 460. 1230 is the moving total that relates to the year, the middle year of these three: 2000, 2001 and 2002. Moving total is 1230. Now, and the moving average of the 3 year sale is 410. We found out this moving average by dividing it by 3. This is the average of 3 years, 410. So 2000, and in 2001 the moving average is 410. In the same way, we found out a moving average of 2002. And how did we calculate this one? So the moving average of these 3 years, 2001, 2002 and 2003, is 430. And how did we determine how this has been calculated, how this has been determined? Let me show you. 380 in 2001, 460 in 2002, 450 in 2003. This is the moving total, 1290. We divided by 3 to get 430, which is the moving average for year 2002. In the same way, we can calculate moving average for year 2003, year 2004, 2005, and hence we have a trend here: 410, 430, 460, 453, 470. This is the trend. This is the trend line. So now, this is the trend, and the trend appears to be upward moving. Since from 410, you can see that the values are normally increasing. Except for this one year, 2004, where we have 453, a reduction from 460 of a reduction from 460 to 453. In this one year, the value has decreased from the past year, from the previous year, but actually the trend is an upward moving. As normally what is happening, the values are increasing. Now, so This is the trend. This is how we determine a trend for time series using the moving averages method. Now, what happens when we have okay, in this example, we have an odd number of years, How many years are here? Here we have 7 years. 2002, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. Now, when we have odd number of odd number of years, we calculate trend using 3 years, moving total of 3 years. But what will happen if we have even number of years? Like here we have 4 quarters for each of the 3 years, making it 12 quarters in total. We have here 12 quarters in total. So what will happen when we calculate moving averages over an even number of periods? In the previous example, we had 7 number of periods, but here we have 12 number of periods. How many periods we have? We have 12 periods. So how the moving averages are calculated? Let me explain. Time series. Now, we have 12 quarters. So in quarter one, we have the number of sales units 600,000 units. In quarter two, 840,000 units were sold. In quarter three, 420,000 units were sold. In quarter four, 720, and so on. So first we find out a moving total of 4 quarters. Moving total of 4 quarters. Actually, this 2580 comes in between quarter two and quarter three. Let me show you how. In quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, quarter five, quarter six. How much are the sales? Sales are 600, 840, 420, 720. 600, 840, 420, 720. 840, then we have 420 and 720. 420 and 720. And then we have 640 and 860. Then we have 640 and 860. 640 and 860. Now, this 2580 actually comes in between quarter two and quarter three. Let me show you how. This is the moving total of the first 4 quarters. This comes in between quarter two and quarter three. And the second figure, 2620, comes in between quarter three and quarter four. And how do we calculate this one? We take numbers from starting from quarter two plus 420, 420 plus 720, and then 640. So this comes in between 3 and 4. Let me mention years here as well. 2005. These are the first 4 quarters of 2000 and 2006. Okay then. Now we have a moving average of 4 quarters. Then we have a moving average of 4 quarters sales. 6,000, uh, 645 in fact. 645 in fact. Now, so the average we divided by 4 to get a moving average of 4 quarters. Again, we divided by 4 to get a moving average, that is 655. Now, this is the moving average of these 4 quarters. This is a moving average of 4 quarters, and this is the moving total of 4 quarters. Mm, this is the moving total of the first 4 quarters, and this is the moving average of the first 4 quarters. Okay, now what we do, we actually find out average of these two. We find out an average of these two plus this divided by 2, and we get the average as 650. Now this 650 relates to the third quarter. As you can see, this 650 is in front of the third quarter. In the same way, you can calculate a moving average for the fourth quarter. This is the one thing that I believe most of the students find difficult to understand here when finding out the trend using moving averages method. Now, in this way, we can determine a trend line when we have even number of periods in question. Moving forward, we have seasonal variations. So how do we determine seasonal variations? This is the additive model for finding out seasonal variation. It is very easy. Once you have find out the trend in this way, once you have determined the trend in this way that I showed you, once you have determined the trend in this way, you can determine the seasonal variation simply in additive model, simply by taking the difference of the two. This is the actual value, and you subtract the trend value from it to get a seasonal variation. So in this way you can find seasonal variations. And once you are done with the seasonal variations, then you have to take average of these variations. Now what happens in year 2005? We have quarter 3, quarter 4. In this way, uh, just see this calculation and you will be able to understand how you can determine an average for the seasonal variations. In year 2005 we have quarter 3, and in year 2005 for quarter 4 of 2005 we have 62.5. Now we have to draw a table like this, and then we take total of 2 quarters. For quarter 1 we have two values here. We take the total of this quarter, and then we take an average. Simply we divide this sum by 2. In the same way, we divide this sum by 2 to get an average. In the same way, we get the average by dividing these two by 2. In the same way, we get an average by dividing the sum of these two, that is 125 by 2. Now, here it is also mentioned that variations around the basic trend line should cancel each other out and add up to 0. But these these 4 figures do not add up to 0. So to uh, so to adjust uh, so to adjust these variations, what we do, we take the total of these four, and we subtract it from we get the total of these four values. And we subtract the average. Of 11.25 from these quarterly variations, from these values. So in this way, what we did, we found out the average of the seasonal variations for the 4 quarters. In quarter one, the seasonal variation is -20. In quarter two, the seasonal variation is 202. And in quarter three, the seasonal variation, the average seasonal variation is -242. And in quarter four, the seasonal variation is 60. Now, we can also use the multiplicative model. Now in the multiplicative model, instead of finding the difference, instead of subtracting, what we do, we take the actual value and we divide it by trend to get a seasonal percentage. We divide it by trend to get the seasonal percentage. So this is the multiplicative model. Just remember this formula: S is equals to Y upon T. And in this way, you can find the seasonal variation using the multiplicative models. You can find out the seasonal variations using the multiplicative model. Now, the percentage point, yes. And here it is also mentioned, you can see that here it is also mentioned, the in this example, the seasonal variations, the further calculations in fact are not shown. Suppose that seasonal variations for the next 4 quarters are how much? 0.628. And the example has mentioned that, suppose that the seasonal variation, the example has given us, in this example we are given some imaginary figures. Suppose the seasonal variations for the next 4 quarters are 0.628, 1.092, 0.980, and 1.309. In the same way, what we will do, we will take the average. We will draw the same table. As in the example above, and we will take the average. Of these figures. Now, these figures, as it is mentioned here, should sum up to these averages should sum up to 4. But in fact, what we are getting is these averages are summing up to, let us find out, 1.3035, 0.637, and then 1.0935. So these averages are summing up to 4.09009. These averages are summing up to 4.009. Now, what do we need to do? Just divide this sum by 4, and you get the answer as 1.00225. Subtract 1 from it to get this 0.00225. 0.00225. Subtract this number, make an adjustment, subtract this number from these averages, make this adjustment, and you will get the final estimate of the seasonal variations using the multiplicative model. Now, and the figures are rounded off eventually. So these are the estimates of seasonal variations using the multiplicative model. What we did, that since the total of these averages was not equal to 4, so we divided the total to get 1.00225, and we subtracted 1 from it. we subtracted 1 from it to get this adjustment, and we subtracted this adjustment from these averages to get a final estimate of the seasonal variations. So this is how we calculate seasonal variations and trend using the multiplicative model. You need to remember that there are two models. One is the additive model and other is the multiplicative model. In the multiplicative model, we simply use the formula S is equals to Y upon T, or you can say we divide the actual value by the trend figure to get a seasonal percentage, as opposed to the additive model where we subtract uh, subtract the trend figure from the actual to get a seasonal variation. So, and finally, what we do to make a final to make a final estimate of the seasonal variation, we simply make an adjustment in this way. Just go through this example, and I am pretty much sure that you will be able to get a good understanding of how seasonal variations are calculated in this way. Thanks for watching. It was Muid Ahmed Siddiqui. Let me know if you need any assistance. As I told you in the beginning of the video, you can also check out the useful links in the description of this video. Thank you very much.